Hello and good evening. Welcome to Campside Chats. Happy Monday. This is your podcast about female solo travelers by female solo travelers for solo female travelers. So, welcome to our podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about where to go on your road trip. Since we've both taken adventures on the road that have led us to many beautiful sights and fun places, we've decided we'll share some of our favorite spots with you.
Totally. And we're just so excited for this episode. As you all may see, I am actually in a campground right now. So it's very topical that we're sharing some places to go. And we're really looking forward to sharing some of our tips. Um, my name is Sarah Donga, and this is my co host.
Sierra Keat, hello.
Hello, Sierra. So I know that we were talking about this offline a bit, but just tell the folks listening and watching just how incredible Big Bend is. So, this is one of the places we will recommend. It's a national park. It's in Southwest Texas. And Sierra went there first. She recommended it, and then I followed like a month after. But to me, it's such an incredible park. Like that's my favorite park. One of my favorite
Yeah,
parks that I've been to. It's really
for
awesome.
sure. And my only regret with Big Bend was that I didn't have more time there. It's huge and there's so much to see there. It's just absolutely incredible. So when I went there, they had just gotten like a record amount of snow. So there were these beautiful like cascades of snow on these mountains. And it was also really neat because there was the desert below. So you had the cactuses blooming in some ways up out of these snowbanks. I would say one of my favorite spots that I got to see was either the US Mexico border along the Rio Grande River near Boquillas, Mexico, or I also hiked the um, I think it was called the Dog Trail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. Yeah, was it yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. There's so many,
Mhm.
honestly, there are so many amazing trails there. Um, I'm just thinking of a few right along like Boquillas, Mexico, really beautiful. There's actually it's kind of an Instagram favorite, and they're in Big Bend. There's this trail. You have to kind of off-road vehicle, and I did it in my Subaru Outback. Like you just need a little bit of clearance, but you go about maybe like 20 minutes, 30 minutes out, and then start your hike from there. And you can go to Balancing Rock, which is that big, huge stone that balances on two other stones, and you can take really awesome pictures. And the end of that hike is a bit of a scramble, but I'm so glad that I fit it in because I was going to leave without doing it, and someone recommended it.
Yeah, I wish I had done
Because
that.
I was
I didn't
able,
see it,
yeah.
but I saw your
Well,
photo
you
of it and
didn't
it
know
looked
how
amazing.
amazing you didn't know how beautiful it was going to be. You like didn't know how amazing Big Bend would be before you got there.
Yeah, I
Um,
really didn't. And it was a very pleasant surprise, even just the drive in. So I drove in at around sunset. So the sun was just starting to go
mm,
down, and it was majestic. That's the
wow.
best way I can describe it. It was just so majestic.
Oh, I so agree. Like, I can't imagine driving in when it's the sunset because it's just incredible. I mean, like Sierra said, it's majestic. There's so much land. Like, it took me an hour to drive from the northern part of the park to the southern part.
Mhm.
And it's just the scale is amazing. There's so many amazing vistas and rock formations and different mountain chains in the area. It's just incredible. And then the Sierra, and then the Rio Grande, which of course serves as a border to the U.S. and Mexico down there. And in the past, before COVID, And let me know if you were able to go over to Boquillas, Mexico. But I apparently because of COVID they shut it down. Before COVID, there was kind of a little ferry service where you could go over to Mexico. There would be an
Really?
immigration, yeah, there would be a border patrol officer on the other side, on the Mexico side. You could like take care of your passport and everything, go have lunch, do like a mule ride, and then come back. And that was a really big part of that city's tourism and income, like, GDP or whatever.
Hmm.
Um,
I
and now
believe it.
it's gone. So
Yeah,
um, it's too bad, honestly.
it really is. I mean, I wasn't able to go there, but that reminds me.
Ooh, what is she gonna show us? Let's see.
So they had like this little, like, they had people who like canoed across the Rio Grande and
Hmm.
set up like a makeshift shop. So I got this
Oh,
mug that's handmade that says Boquillas, Mexico on it. And
oh, I love it. I love it.
yeah, I currently have like some ground up lavender in there. So like it's
Ooh,
very calming.
I
It's
love
great.
that.
But
I love that.
it's I hope one day I can go back and see Boquillas and see the Leaning Rock and
Oh,
so
yeah.
many, like, the thing about Big Bend is like you can't do it just once. Like
No, no. It's one of those
there's so much stuff.
unforgettable parks, honestly. And um, when I was there, I met a woman who used to be the videographer for the park for many years, and she just
Oh,
said
really?
they have had, yeah, it was so cool. She was awesome. She knew everything, and she was one of those wonderful souls you meet on the road. And she just basically said like it's the popularity of the park has grown exponentially, and with popularity comes some negative consequences for the land, the resources, and the animals. And so it's like if you all are going to national parks, one thing we'll just say is be really respectful of the parks that you're
Mhm.
going to, because often hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people are going through there, and you just want to, if you can pack out your trash, or dispose of it safely. Do not feed. I know it's tempting, but do not feed any animals, because animals that get fed get very aggressive, and then they have to be taken care of in
Mhm.
campgrounds. And just be respectful. Like, thank a park ranger for what they're doing, and make sure
Park
you stay on the
rangers
trail
are the
and
real
everything. So
MVPs. They really are.
they are. They
Mhm.
totally are. They totally are. I love that. Yeah, and then what camp do you remember what campground you camped in Big Bend?
I think
Was
it
it Rio
was
Grande or no?
Yep, it was the Rio Grande campground because the north one and I forgot the second one what it's called, but they were both closed for the night because they had to shut them down because of the snow. Because the snow hadn't melted away
Mm.
yet. So I stayed in the Rio Grande campground, which was awesome.
Oh,
And
so cool.
yeah, they had like a great camp set up. I was able to like start my fire the next morning. Made myself a little can of soup for breakfast. It was great.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I love that.
Another
The
thing I
simple
saw,
joys of camping.
yeah, for sure. I also was able to see the wild, what are they called there? Javelinas?
Oh yeah, javelina. Yeah, yeah. They're
Javelinas,
like,
yes.
yeah, can you describe them? They're really odd for anyone who hasn't seen them. They're kind of
They really are, and I had
bizarre.
never seen one before. So they're wild pigs. They're like kind of black and like hairy. They almost look like Timon from The Lion King.
Yeah, they look like warthogs. They really do. They're
They
the
really
desert
do.
equivalent of warthogs. And they're the funniest thing. Did you find them in your campsite like all the time? Because that's where I saw mine.
I didn't see them in my campsite. Where I saw them was I was driving down the road. And they just crossed right out in front, and I was like, "Whoop, I better stop." So I pulled over and got like a little video of them. It's in my travel vlog, which I should post to this channel.
Yes,
Um,
please do.
I
That sounds
will.
amazing. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh, I love it. Yeah, no, I may have told this story before on the podcast, and if so, apologies. But I think it bears repeating. I got back really late one night, and I drive out to my campsite, and all of a sudden my headlights show on like five or so javelina in my campsite. And I had to slowly like roll my car forward so that they would all disperse. And then I was like setting up in the dark with javelina, and I had grown up around them because I grew up in Arizona. So I was very familiar with the javelina. They're just such cool animals, honestly. They're really cute, but they're a little bit grumpy when
Yeah.
you mess with them. So don't mess with them. But
Hmm.
I love that you saw those. And did you see, let's see, there were some coyote I saw as well. Um, some coyote crossing the road late at night. And I also had to sort of honk my horn at them and say, okay, go away. Um,
I think saw.
people have seen, like, they're like little foxes almost. They're like desert foxes. But also, people have seen mountain lions on the side of the road in Big Bend,
That
which is so
doesn't
cool.
surprise
I did
me.
not see any.
I didn't
Yeah.
either, but I swear to God, when I was doing my hike, I was like, if I were a mountain lion, this is where I would live because they blend right
Hmm.
in with the scenery there. And
Yeah,
so it's
they do.
definitely something you have to be cautious of there for sure.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, it's apparently there's one mountain lion per square mile
Oh,
in the park.
wow.
So there are a lot of mountain lions there, but attacks are very rare, and it's more they're kind of they want to keep to themselves, you know. They don't want to bug
Mhm.
you. So it's like the biggest things when you're hiking to be prepared is pack water, wear sunscreen, bring a hat, have food. Don't worry so much about the bears and the lions, like
Mhm.
all those things. Worry about,
Exactly.
you know, your own personal safety first is what I would
Exactly.
recommend.
I saw signs
Yeah.
everywhere, in the park that was, bring, 2 liters of water for every hour that you're gonna be hiking.
Hmm.
Um, and it's so important, especially when I went out to the Grand Canyon. To be fair, I was there in January, but obviously, especially in the summer months, they respond to, I think it was up to like 400 incidents per season, where somebody thinks that, oh, I'll just bring my Nalgene with me to go hike to in the hottest part of the day. And it's just like, no, you cannot do that
No,
safely.
no, no.
Yeah.
That's so that's so good that you say that because the way to keep you safe, you know, people ask us all the time about, oh, aren't you, you know, worried about being on the road? Isn't it dangerous? Yes, to some extent, but the biggest thing you can do for your own personal safety is just bring enough water and bring enough fuel and like have a little flashlight in your backpack in case you get caught after dark. Just plan ahead. Like some people say, "Oh, we don't need that much water." Well,
Yes,
pack a
you
little
do.
extra because
I
if you
still
if you
have an
get
extra gallon of
turned
water in the back
around,
of my car, even though I'm home now. But I
yes,
still have, like, my whole
I love it.
survival kit. I have a lighter, I have a blanket. I'm like, anything happens, I'm ready. Like,
You're set.
mhm, I really am.
I love that. I love it. You are prepared. You're prepared for the streets of
Prepared for
BC.
anything.
You're
Adventure is
ready.
out there, and I'm gonna be out there too.
Yeah. Speaking of which, so our topic today is telling you all about amazing national parks and state parks, national forests that we've come across. Big Bend was a huge one, so pivotal in my travel, and I think you too, Sierra, might agree with that.
Mhm.
I also want to recommend, since we're on the topic of water, there is a national park, the most remote national park in the country is off the coast of Florida. I was just there. It's called Dry Tortugas National Park. And speaking of water, if you plan to camp, you have to reserve about a year in advance. They fill up very, very fast. There are only 8 camp spots on the island, and then there is some overflow. But you have to pack all of your water for your whole stay with you in your travels when you go aboard. So you can get a ferry, the Yankee Freedom. It will take you over with all of your camping stuff, your food, your water. Again, there's no running water on island. And then you can just camp. It's about 72 miles off the coast of Florida, in like almost in the Caribbean. It's like very close to Cuba. Um, beautiful, beautiful, clear, crystal clear waters. A historical fort that was built in the 1800s, and it's just incredible. But I would highly recommend be self-sufficient when you're there. If you want to see if you're checking off national parks off your list, Dry Tortugas is another incredible, maybe tied with Big Bend, tied with Big
Mhm.
Bend, of just the majesty and such a different. Like when I camped there 2 nights and saw the Milky Way at night. Yeah, it was so cool. I got to swim. They have beautiful coral reefs right around the fort. You don't even have to go far. Um, just an incredible experience.
That sounds
So definitely
amazing.
check out Dry Tortugas. Yeah, it was
Mhm.
so cool, honestly. And it's in the US. It's so tropical, but we have so many amazing resources in our national parks. And so
Mhm.
just go out there and see for yourself.
Yes, please do go to our national parks. Like, they really are such a treasure. I can't stress this enough. So that leads me into my next idea, something to share with you all. If you do go on a road trip and decide you want to hit up a bunch of national parks or historic sites, national forests, one thing that is definitely worth getting is called An America the Beautiful Pass. If you go to most national parks and ask a park ranger, you can go purchase one. If you're under the age of 65, it's $80, but you can use it for a whole year and it gets you into any national park or national forest or historic landmark for free, that not including like the cost of staying overnight if you're staying at a campground. But it is so worth your while because oftentimes national parks can be pricey if you don't purchase that pass, with their entry fees. So definitely invest in them. In An America the Beautiful Pass, also the money goes directly to the National Park Service, which helps to maintain, and upkeep the national parks.
Mm.
So definitely invest in one of those. They're incredible.
Oh my God, that's such a great point. Honestly, my pass has paid for itself maybe 5 times over. Really. I
Mhm.
mean, because a lot of these national parks, sometimes they're multiple entry sites. So, like, you might be able to enter it at the far end of the park, but then you might have to pay a separate entry fee for another recreation area. So, it's just really good to keep in mind. And I was in the Everglades, which was also an amazing national park. Florida has so many. They have 3 main national parks: Dry Tortugas, Biscayne, which is all 95% underwater, and I went snorkeling there. And then there's Everglades, which is alligators, crocodiles. The only place on Earth where crocodiles and alligators come together,
Really?
which is
Wow.
wild. Yeah, it's kind of funny. But for that, for example, there's a location called Shark Valley in the park, and it's I think it's like $30 to enter per car. So if you think about that, $30, like you only have 50 more to go if you buy the pass. So, if you want to go 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, that's your pass.
Mhm.
So highly recommend America the Beautiful Pass. So cool. You can display it on your rear view mirror, and your look like you know what you're doing at all
Yeah,
parks, which
for
is a
sure.
nice plus. Um,
Although
Highly,
I
highly
have to
recommend it. Yeah, that's
say,
a really
one of
good
the
plug.
park rangers did tell me, even though there's like a place to hang them on your rear view mirror, that you shouldn't hang them because apparently people do steal them. They're worth a lot and they get you into the park. So make sure you protect your America the Beautiful pass. Make sure it doesn't get stolen.
That's a really good point. Yeah, just
Mhm.
like Sarah was saying, just be vigilant and think about the cost of things, think about being more remote and what people might want to take from you. People are good, but if there's an easy opportunity, someone might just snag it. So,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
so question for you, Sierra, are there any other national parks, state parks that you have especially liked during your travels?
Yes. Bryce Canyon in
Oh,
Utah was absolutely stunning and unlike anything else I had seen anywhere. So, Bryce Canyon is, like I said, it's located in Utah and the landscape there is just so incredible. It's a smaller national park, but I spent an extra day there because it was just so stunning. Essentially, it has these what are called hoodoos, and they're almost like these rock formations that jet up out of the sky and or they jet up into the sky and they have all these different shapes to them, and especially at sunset, like the red canyon rocks just reflect, and
mm,
it's so like my words and my photos don't even do it justice. Like they don't. It's just so incredible and
I've
so stunning, and you can hike
I've
into the
heard it's
hoodoos.
an amazing park.
Hmm. It was absolutely amazing. Sarah,
I've
I
heard it's
hope you're
amazing.
able to go
Seriously, I've
there.
heard it's amazing.
I hope you're
Oh,
able to
me
go there
too.
on your
I know.
travel.
I'm so excited. I'm like, me too. Me too.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have heard amazing things about Bryce Canyon and Utah in general. Like, how much time did you spend in Utah? Did you see any other parks in the area?
I wish I had. So I went back down into Arizona instead of going up north to Canyonlands and Arches, which I kind of regret because, like, I need to go back to Utah. Utah has become my favorite state in the
Yes.
US. It's so beautiful. Like,
Let's go together.
yes, please, let's. Oh my gosh, road trip part 2 for me. I need to
Yes.
go back to Utah. It's so beautiful. I just can't say enough about it. I went to Zion National Park and
Wow.
um and Bryce Canyon, but I also drove through Red Rocks Canyon and the Red Rocks Canyon Scenic Highway, and it is just so stunning. It's just so beautiful.
Oh my gosh. I can only imagine. Like, when the sun hits those rocks a certain way, they just glow. Like, it's unreal. It's so
Mhm.
unreal that it even exists on Earth. You feel like you're in on an alien planet, don't you? It's like
Yeah,
completely different.
you really do. And speaking of alien planets, another national park that we both went to that is absolutely stunning and where they film a lot of different movies, usually extraterrestrial kind of movies. I think they shot a few like Star Wars movies there or something.
Hmm.
White Sands National Park in New Mexico is
So
another.
pretty. So cool.
It's amazing. So basically, it's the name says it all. White sand, so white that being from New England, if I didn't know better, I would have thought it was snow. It's just and people go
I
sledding
felt
down
the
the
same.
sand dunes.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Now that's one that I wish I booked more time at because I saw it for about half a day. I saw sunset, but apparently there's some really cool trails in and around that area.
There
And
are.
do they mark them with poles because the
Mhm.
winds
Yeah, they
shift
do.
the sand so much? It's
They
crazy.
really
Wow.
do. Yeah. I took a hike around there in a couple of the trails, And it's so funny because you can see for miles like where these poles are, but then it takes forever to get to them because you're walking through the sand and just walking through this desert. And the funny thing is you can see these huge majestic mountains on the other side, and you're like you think that if you keep walking you'll reach them, but then it's just it goes on for miles. It's absolutely stunning. And apparently in the spring seasons there'll usually be like little pools and lakes that show up. Obviously I was there in January, so I did not see that, but
Mm,
it was really
that's so
neat.
cool.
And when the
Yeah,
sun
apparently the
sets, like
water.
the periwinkle of the
Oh,
sky,
sorry, go ahead.
oh, sorry, when the sun sets, like the colors of the
So pretty.
sky reflect off the sand almost. It's so beautiful.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible.
Mhm.
And the reason why, like Sierra was saying, why there are some puddles that show up in the summer months is because the water table is so high in that area. Like the
Mhm.
dune, what people don't know about dunes a lot of times is they're protecting vital water resources under them. So it's so important to conserve and preserve dunes. Um, it's just essential for our water resources, honestly. So I would have loved to see that. But I guess we'll also have to go back when it's, wetter, the wet season,
Yeah, for sure.
which
And then
which
from
is
there we
never
can go
isn't
back
much
to
rain.
Utah, and we can see the
Perfect.
national parks that I didn't get to see the first time around.
I love that. I love that. Well,
Yes.
that's the thing is when you share, like when our community is able to share recommendations and stories, then that just helps everyone know where to go. So when I
Mhm.
go to Utah, I'll be able to follow your recommendations and get to see some of those parks.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
I do have to plug a few parks in New Mexico. So I went to the Guadalupe Mountains, which is another national forest. So there's some or national park. There's some that aren't as popular or there aren't as many visitors. This one is a real hikers park, and you can actually it's in Texas. You can actually hike to the highest point in Texas in one day, which is so cool.
Wow.
It's like an 8-hour hike. It was beautiful overlook over Texas. And this is all in West Texas. West Texas, so beautiful. No car traffic. You're like the only one on the road. It's so,
Mhm.
so cool. And then right next door to Guadalupe, if you're going in order, you can just knock out Carlsbad Caverns, which is one of the largest cave systems in the US underground. And you can just go. I think with COVID, they're not even doing tours. You just go deep into the earth and they have some lights down there. And it was like, it was incredible. It's hard to photograph because it's so dark, but
Mhm.
the wow, the stalactites and the stalagmites were breathtaking. So cool.
I
And
need
it's
to
still being
go
formed.
there.
Yeah, yeah. We have to include that in our road trip as well.
Exactly. I We need to do, like, a road trip part 2, and that's the hard thing about road trips is even if you plan it out, you can't see everything,
Right, right.
like and that's the thing about even though I've lived in the US my whole life, like, I had never seen really much of the West Coast, especially not the Southwest. I'd never been to the Southwest before, and it was so amazing just to see these parts of the country that I'd never been to, and it's like almost going to another planet with some of these scenes.
It really
Just
is.
it real
It's
yeah.
so cool. It's honestly, it's a sense of awe, that you get when you look up at the sky. When you look up at the night sky, it's like that, but everywhere around you. And as you can see, actually, the sun is setting on
Mhm.
on my campground now. So it's kind of, I'm getting to really right now be in nature and look around and the sun is setting and there are birds and people are walking around. Um, hope that these are full. Um, and let us know, message us or comment in the comment section if you have any questions about any of these. Sierra and I would be happy to share kind of our road trip what our plans were and what we really, really liked. But those are our highlights, I would say. Wouldn't you say that? We've been to a lot of places, but those are our highlights.
Yeah, definitely. For sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. This has been Campside Chats with Sierra and Sarah. And tune in soon. We'll be banking another episode shortly. And we appreciate you all. Take care.
Thank you. Have a good night.